Robin, it's been 3 years since we last spoke. It's your older sister here. I bet you've been feeling down ever since I stole your husband, right? But cheer up. I've got some good news for you, so don't hesitate to keep reading this message. Hello? Goodbye. Hey, I said I've got good news. Listen to me. I'm getting married to a rich boyfriend, so I'll be returning your ex-husband to you. He said he's ready to remarry you, so take him back with open arms, okay? What kind of misunderstanding are we dealing with this time? Huh? What misunderstanding? What part of what I said is a misunderstanding? I'm just letting you know I don't need your ex-husband anymore, so I'm giving him back to you. Ex-husband? I never got divorced in the first place. Wait, what? I got married 4 years ago, and my husband and I haven't had any major arguments. We're getting along well, and we even have a 2-year-old child now. What? You're the one who's got things all wrong. Your ex-husband fell in love with me, and we ran away together. That's why he's been living with me for the past 3 years. There's no way I could be mistaken about that. It's the undeniable truth. Well, it's true that you've been living with someone you believe to be my ex-husband. That much is a fact. Right? But here's the thing. The man you think is my ex-husband isn't my husband at all. He's someone completely different. Wait, what? 3 years ago, when you sent me that weird message saying, I'm taking your husband, and then disappeared, my husband and I were actually on a vacation at a resort. To get more specific, at the exact moment your message came through, my husband and I were strolling hand in hand through a beautiful resort town. What? Ever since then, my husband and I have been living together as usual with no problems in our marriage. So the man you think is my husband has to be someone else entirely. What the heck? Well, if that's the case, you should have contacted me right away. The fact that you didn't means you're lying to cover up the pain of having your husband stolen from you. Didn't you have me blocked until just recently? Of course I did send a message to correct you, but it was never marked as read. What? You're kidding, right? Robin! Hey, what the hell is going on here? Why on earth am I getting served with a demand for compensation? You better explain this to me right now. Why are you even calling me about this? Because you said I didn't actually steal your husband, right? There's no reason for me to be hit with a compensation claim if that's the case. By the sound of it, I'm guessing you received a certified letter, right? So you do know something about this. I'm not directly involved. I've only heard some of the details, that's all. Well, then explain it to me. You know the name of the person filing the claim, don't you? You should have seen it on the letter. Huh? I take it you didn't even bother to carefully check the details before deciding this was my doing and coming after me. The name listed here, it says Miriam? That's right, it's our cousin, Miriam. What? Why would Miriam? She's the one who used to call me Big Sister and looked up to me so much. Why would she be the one filing a claim for compensation against me? You seriously can't figure it out? What the hell is this? What's going on? If you read through the document carefully, it's all explained there, but fine, I'll make it clear for you. The Mark you ran off with, the one you had an affair with, is actually Miriam's ex-husband. What? Miriam said the statute of limitations for filing a claim for compensation hasn't expired yet. Apparently, after you and Mark split, he tried asking Miriam to take him back. That attempt to reconcile was what helped her pinpoint your current location. Of course, she flatly refused to get back together with him, though. No way. You're telling me Miriam and Mark were married? You might not have known this, but Mark, Marcus, Miriam, and I all went to the same university. What? Seriously? Yeah, first Marcus and I started dating. At the time, Miriam intentionally had a bit of interest in Marcus, but when she noticed Mark and started interacting with him, they hit it off and began dating. Eventually, after graduating from university, both couples ended up getting married. And here's where it gets interesting. By pure coincidence, the apartments we moved into after getting married were in the same complex, albeit on different floors. The A apartment complex? Exactly. Building 3 of that complex, though Marcus and I have since moved out. Wait, what was the apartment number again? Marcus and I were in Unit 305, while Miriam and Mark were in 502. That's it! What do you mean? I saw Marcus near the station and decided to follow him, thinking it was the perfect chance to figure out where you were living. The place I ended up following him to was Unit 502. Ah, so you thought you were tailing Marcus, but in reality you were following Mark instead. Now that I think about it, even though I knew your husband's name was Marcus, I guess I convinced myself otherwise while I was getting involved with Mark. Ah, well, sounds like you rewrote your own memories to fit your narrative. Jessie, you have a knack for believing whatever suits you best, don't you? That's not… You totally did, didn't you? Come on, admit it. Fine, whatever. If it's compensation, my rich boyfriend will pay for it anyway. Help me, I don't have any money. Robin, pick up! If this is about money, I'm not lending you any. I haven't even said anything yet. Well, you just said you don't have money, so it's pretty obvious where this conversation is going. Did I hit the nail on the head? Fine. Can you just lend me some money, please? I already told you, no. Weren't you just boasting about how your rich boyfriend would handle everything? He dumped me! Said there's no way he'd marry a homewrecker who's also a two-timing cheat. Oh, so he found out about your past behavior? Yeah, his parents had me investigated when he mentioned me to them. Ah, well that makes sense. When a family has money, they have to be careful about people who might target their assets. Especially when it comes to marriage, they're bound to be extra cautious. This isn't the time for you to be analyzing their reasoning. What am I supposed to do now? Figure it out on your own. You're my sister. You're supposed to help me when I'm in trouble. Don't pull the sister card only when it's convenient for you. You got yourself into this mess by going after someone you thought was my husband. Sure, your mistakes didn't directly harm me, but Miriam ended up being the real victim in all of this. Why should I lift a finger to help someone who's done nothing but cause problems? I can't believe this. Oh, and by the way, don't even think about turning to Mom and Dad for help. What? They were furious about what you did 3 years ago. Your little escapade ruined their relationship with Uncle and Aunt, the parents of Miriam. At this point, they barely tolerate the fact that I still keep in touch with Miriam. No way! That's how bad it got. In fact, Mom and Dad wanted me to tell you something. They don't consider you their daughter anymore. They don't want to see your face ever again. And they've officially disowned you. You can't be serious! Oh, I'm completely serious. Also, they've moved, so if you're thinking of showing up at the old house, don't bother. Some strangers are living there now. Nobody's going to help me. What am I supposed to do now? Robin, this is Jessie again. You can't just abandon me like this. You know I made mistakes, but I'm still your sister. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Stop calling me, Jessie. You have burned too many bridges to expect anything from me anymore. I have my own life, and I refuse to let your problems drag me down. Goodbye. Since it seemed like Jessie's messages were going to drag on endlessly with no sign of stopping or any real conclusion in sight, I finally decided that it was time to stop replying altogether. The endless stream of messages was getting more and more overwhelming, and the conversation isn't going anywhere. There was no sense in continuing to engage in a dialogue that seemed to be going in circles, especially when I felt like my responses weren't really making a difference. I had hoped that at some point things would calm down and she would figure it out on her own, but it was becoming increasingly clear that the situation was more complicated than I had initially thought. I had always been there for Jessie, or at least I thought I had been. We had been friends for a long time, and I'd seen her go through her fair share of ups and downs. She was the type of person who would always get herself into some kind of mess, yet somehow managed to get out of it with little more than a scratch. But this time, it felt different. This time, there was a sense of helplessness, a feeling that things were spiraling beyond her control. I didn't know how to help her anymore, especially when it seemed like nothing I said was having any real impact. She was determined to make her own choices, for better or worse, and maybe the best thing I could do for her was give her the space to figure things out on her own. So in a moment of frustration, I made the decision to stop responding and just leave her messages on read. It wasn't a decision I made lightly, and it carried with it a sense of guilt that I couldn't shake. I had always been the one to listen, to offer advice when she needed it, and to try to steer her in the right direction. But now, I wasn't sure if anything I said would make a difference. It was as though Jessie was caught up in a whirlwind of emotions and confusions that I couldn't untangle. She seemed to be stuck in a cycle of decisions that weren't leading her anywhere good, and I wasn't sure how much more I could help her when it felt like I was just another voice in the noise. Maybe, I thought, she just needed space to process everything and figure things out on her own. But as I would soon find out, leaving her on read didn't mean the end of the conversation. In the days that followed, Jessie's messages continued to flood my phone, each one seemingly more urgent and frantic than the last. It was as if she couldn't stop herself from updating me about her every move, every thought, and every new twist in the strange and chaotic story of her life. Even though I had stopped responding, it seemed like she was still looking for someone, anyone, to witness her drama, her frustrations, and her triumphs, no matter how small they seemed. The more I read, the more I began to feel like I was watching her unravel bit by bit. It wasn't just about the things she was saying anymore, it was about the way she was saying them. Her messages were no longer full of excitement and optimism about her new life in New York City. Instead, they became desperate, confused, and full of regret. Jessie, the girl that had once been so confident and fearless, was now showing a side of herself that was vulnerable and uncertain. She was trying to hold it together, but it was becoming increasingly difficult. At first, her messages had seemed harmless enough. She was just telling me about her new adventure in the city, her excitement about leaving her small hometown behind, and the promises of new opportunities and experiences. Jessie had always been the type to embrace change, to chase after something bigger and better, and she was convinced that New York City was the answer to all of her problems. It was supposed to be the fresh start she had been waiting for, the place where she could reinvent herself and leave everything behind. But as the days went by, it became clear that New York wasn't the dreamland she had imagined. New York City boyfriend is sending me money. Nobody in my hometown is willing to help me. I remember reading this message and feeling a mix of concern and disbelief. Jessie had always been good at finding people to lean on, but I had never heard her speak so bluntly about her situation. She seemed to be bragging about the money she was receiving from this boyfriend she had met online, but something about the message didn't sit right with me. It felt like she was depending on this stranger in a way that seemed dangerous and reckless, as though she was putting all her faith in someone she barely knew just because he was offering her financial support. The fact that she was so quick to turn to this guy for help instead of trying to rely on herself made me uneasy. It also made me think about the larger picture. Jessie had always been the type to expect people to come to her rescue to offer help when she needed it. It was a pattern that I had noticed over the years, and it was clear that this situation wasn't an isolated incident. There had been countless times in the past when Jessie had found herself in trouble and expected others to bail her out. But now, it seemed like she was trying to solve her problems by relying on someone who was, for all intents and purposes, a complete stranger. It was a risky move, one that I didn't think she fully understood. But that was just the beginning. As Jessie continued to update me, her tone began to shift. What had started as excitement about her new life in New York City quickly turned into frustration and confusion. She had gone from feeling like she was on top of the world to feeling completely alone and betrayed. Guys in New York City are so cold. As soon as I went out of my way to meet him, he completely ghosted me. Reading this, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Jessie had been so excited to meet this guy, convinced that he was going to be the one to make her feel welcome in the city, to show her the ropes and help her navigate this new chapter of her life. But instead, he had completely shut her out. It wasn't just that he didn't respond to her messages or calls, it was that he had gone silent entirely. She had gone out of her way to meet him, and in return, he had disappeared. It wasn't just a rejection, it felt like an abandonment. Jessie had invested so much hope and energy into this person, and to have him completely shut her out was a blow she wasn't prepared for. I could tell that Jessie was hurt, but rather than sitting with her feelings, she quickly tried to brush it off and move on to the next thing. "I've already found a new guy. Typical me, right?" It was clear that she wasn't letting herself fully process what had happened. Instead of confronting the feelings of disappointment and hurt, she was throwing herself into the next thing that came along. This new guy, this new relationship, was her way of trying to fill the void left by the first. But even as she typed those words, I could tell that she wasn't fully convinced by the new situation. She was trying to convince herself that everything was fine, that she could handle it, but deep down, I knew that she was just running from the pain of being hurt. She wasn't facing her feelings, she was covering them up with a distraction of a new relationship. And it wasn't long before that relationship began to show its own cracks. My new boyfriend lent me some money, but something feels off about him. This was when I began to get really concerned. Jessie had been so confident earlier, so quick to jump into a new relationship, but now she was expressing doubt. She didn't explain what exactly felt off about him, but it was clear that something was wrong. Her intuition was telling her that she was getting herself into another dangerous situation, but she wasn't sure how to get out of it. I could almost feel her internal struggle as she tried to justify her actions while simultaneously realizing that she had made yet another mistake. "What should I do? He told me I need to earn money here, and then he took me to this really shady place." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I could sense the panic in her message, the fear that had crept in as she realized she was in over her head. What kind of place was she talking about? What did this guy want from her? Why had she ended up in a situation where she was being asked to earn money in a shady place? It was all too much, and I couldn't help but wonder how she had gotten here. How had she gone from being a girl with dreams of a fresh start in New York to someone caught in the dangerous situation like this? This is so bad. Her brief, desperate message left no room for doubt. Jessie knew that she was in trouble, but she didn't know how to escape. It was clear that she was stuck, unsure of what to do or who to turn to. She had gone down this path before, but this time it felt different. The stakes were higher and there was no safety net. Please help me. That was the last message I received from her. I sat there for a long time after reading it, the weight of her words sinking in. I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of worry for her. She'd gotten herself tangled up in a situation that was beyond her control. And now she was reaching out for help, but there was nothing I could do. It was a helpless feeling, one that I had experienced before, but never to this extent. Jessie had always been the type to get herself into trouble, but this time it felt like she was in over her head. She had gone too far and there was no easy way out. For a long time I kept wondering if I should respond, if I should reach out and offer her the help she so desperately needed. But in the end, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I wasn't sure what I could say to make any difference. Maybe she needed to face the consequences of her actions, to experience the fallout before she could start making better choices. Maybe she needed to hit rock bottom before she could start climbing up. So I didn't respond. Instead, I sat in silence, hoping that Jessie would find a way out of the mess she had made. I wasn't sure if she would, but I couldn't be the one to fix everything for her anymore. She had to figure it out on her own, no matter how much it hurt to watch her struggle. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Millie, hey! Thanks for the other day. I really appreciate you coming to the wedding. Why are you laughing as you say that? Because I couldn't stop laughing at how socially awkward you still are. I made a conscious effort to be respectful, both in how I dressed and how I carried myself. After all, I am the bride's sister. Sure, I'll give you that. You did your best to blend into the shadows like usual. I mean, it's not like you could draw attention if you tried. You've always been invisible. So I guess you were just being your usual awkward self. Was there an actual reason you contacted me? Storm, I think you're forgetting something. We're practically estranged, you know. I only went to the ceremony out of obligation, for Dad's sake. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather you not contact me at all. Oh, really? You sure you want to say that? What now? I overheard Mom and Dad talking at the reception, you know. You're living in some bottom-of-the-barrel poverty situation, right? They said you're making, what, $10,000 a year? That's like $800 a month. How are you even surviving on that living alone? You must be in some real dump of an apartment. Wait, $10,000 a year? Where did that number even come from? Like I said, I overheard them talking. I seriously don't recall them saying that. 10 grand a year is practically NEET level, sis. Meanwhile, look at me. I've married a rich guy who works at a major company, and I'm living the dream as a full-time housewife. I don't have to work and still get to enjoy the luxurious life. Actually, you know what? Want me to give you some money? What? My husband's loaded. Covering the cost of a few basics so you can live like a human being isn't going to break our bank. I don't want your money. Don't be so proud. You can't possibly live on $800 a month. You're probably up to your eyeballs in debt just to keep the lights on. Sad little debt-ridden pauper. I'm giving you a lifeline here. Take it. No thanks. Doing anything you say is guaranteed to make my life worse. Oh, that's how you want to play it? Also, for your information, I'm not in debt, so you can relax. Are you sure about that? Think what you like. We're not in touch anyway, so I honestly don't care what you assume. You've always been so stubborn and hard to like. Then it's good I'm not trying to be likable. But deep down, what now? Be honest. About what? You want the money, right? I already said no. Well then, to my difficult little sister who can't admit when she's in need, I have a fantastic proposal for you. I don't need any proposals. Introduce me to a guy. What? Are you serious? Storm, you just got married. I know you've always had a thing for fooling around, but that's over now. You're married. Yeah, but my husband's such a boring, straight-laced guy, and he's so bland in bed. I'm bored to death. No excitement. I'm dying here. Didn't you get married knowing full well what kind of person he is? I was fooled by the looks and the paycheck, okay? So come on, hook me up with someone. Even if I wanted to, just one guy, that's all I'm asking. You're being absolutely ridiculous. Come on, and make sure he's hot. I'm not doing this. Why not? Because I'm not about to help you cheat on your husband. It's just for fun. It's not my fault he can't satisfy me. He's the problem. Listen, that kind of stuff might sound casual to you, but the consequences, they're not. Whether you're single or married makes a huge difference when it comes to affairs. Get your act together. Ugh, you sound so self-righteous. Living on your own for 10 years turned you into some arrogant little know-it-all, huh? You were always a brat, but now it's worse. Say whatever you want. This conversation is over. Millie! Come on, answer me already. Millie, you there? Hello? What? I'm at work now, you know. You're calling that work? Girl, please. You're barely scraping together $800 a month, and you've got the nerve to sound all busy and important. There's no such thing as a bottom-tier job. Work is work. And coming from you, the woman who spent every waking moment chasing guys until she finally landed a husband, you've got zero room to talk. Also, just FYI, I'm earning more than $800 now. Oh, really? So what, did my jab about you being poor sting enough to make you hustle for once? What now? You made $900 this month instead? Wow, how impressive. You're rolling in it, huh? You're seriously just sitting around talking to yourself, huh? Making jokes, laughing at them, then replying like anyone's entertained? You must be so bored. Anyway, I'm done with this. Okay, fine. But what if I said, I took your man? What are you talking about? My man? Yeah. Some guy walked out of that shabby little apartment building you live in, and I just knew he had to be yours. So I went and got a little friendly with him. I hope you don't mind. I'm sorry, what? First of all, my apartment isn't nearly as terrible as you make it sound. And second, it's got pretty tight security. Are you sure you're not confusing me with someone else? Tisk tisk, no need to pretend, sis. He told me himself you two were involved. And I gotta say, he was pretty great. Good looking, fun, knew how to handle things in bed. Exactly the kind of thrill I've been craving. Way more exciting than my straight-laced husband, that's for sure. Wait, are you telling me you actually slept with someone you think I'm dating? Relax, what's the big deal? You're my sister. So we shared a guy for a bit, no harm done, right? That is completely insane. I have no idea what guy you're even talking about. Oh, come on, don't play dumb. He said you were struggling financially too, so I figured why not help out? I handed him $30,000. You what? Mm-hmm. And since you were kind enough to introduce me to such a lovely guy, I figured I'd return the favor. Check your mailbox. There's $20,000 in there just for you, my way of saying thanks for the referral. You've got to be kidding me. You put $20,000 in my mailbox? Yep, so generous, right? Anyway, just wanted to let you know I'll be keeping your man now. He and I really hit it off. You are unbelievable. Oh, and just so we're clear, if you go crying to my husband about any of this, I will be asking for that money back. So think carefully before you do anything stupid. Bye! Millie, what the hell do you think you're doing? Answer your damn phone. What? What? That's all you have to say? Don't give me that tone. I gave you the money, didn't I? The damn thank you money? Why the hell would you go rat me out to my husband? Oh, so he found out about your little affair, huh? No crap he did, and now I want my $20,000 back. You told him, Millie, that was the deal. No snitching. Yeah, but see, I didn't tell him anything. What the hell are you talking about? He came to me and asked for advice, that's it. Wait, he came to you? My husband went to you? Yeah, he said he wanted to talk about your cheating. What the actual hell? Why would he confide in you? You're just some broken bottom-of-the-barrel wannabe. Right, except I'm a licensed attorney with an annual income of $100,000. I'm sorry, what? You heard me. You're a lawyer? Mm-hmm, and your husband knows that, which is probably why he felt safe confiding in me. He told me he wants to move forward with a divorce. No, this can't be real. I didn't take his case, obviously, conflict of interest, but I did refer him to someone more suitable. Looks like everything's finally in motion. Hold on! What the hell were Mom and Dad talking about when they said you were only making $10,000 a year? I asked them about that too. They think they must have misheard me when I said my husband's monthly income was $10,000. They probably assume I meant yearly. Wait, so your husband makes $10,000 a month? Yeah, so his annual salary is about $120,000. He owns his own business. He what? Your husband? My husband, yes. Are you telling me you're married? Have been for 3 years now. We met through a colleague of mine. He's the legal advisor for my husband's company. We got married not long after. We even have a kid. 3 years? Yeah. I just never told you because, well, dealing with your jealousy and drama isn't exactly how I'd like to spend my time. Wait. So that guy, the one I saw leaving the apartment, that wasn't your man? Storm, how exactly did you get that apartment address again? You sent us a New Year's card once. It had your address on it. That's how I found the place. And then I saw some guy walk out of there and I thought, oh, I see. That was probably the address from before we got married. My husband and I used to live there before we moved into our house. I must have sent that card during our engagement, right before we relocated. Hold up, are you telling me that guy, the one I slept with, he wasn't even your man? He was probably the new tenant, the one who moved in after we left. No, wait a second. So then the $20,000 I stuffed into the mailbox? No idea who got that money. Wasn't me. You're lying. You had to have taken it. I was planning to use it as leverage to cover my damages if I ended up divorced. Right, well, according to your husband, that was his money to begin with. So even if you had gotten it back, it wouldn't count toward any damages. It'd just be returning what you stole. Oh God, no. What do I do? $50,000 is gone. I don't have that kind of money. And that's not even the worst of it. What now? The $50,000 is just what you have to repay. It's not counting the compensation your husband could be suing for. That's additional. You're saying $50,000 isn't even enough? Exactly. He could demand more, depending on the emotional distress, the damage to his reputation, breach of trust, all that. I'm screwed. Also, just so you know, Mom and Dad aren't going to help you. What? They told me flat out. They're not lifting a finger for you. They said if you blew through $50,000 and wrecked your own marriage, then you can dig yourself out on your own. No, this can't be happening. Millie, please help me. Be my lawyer, I'm begging you. What? You're a lawyer, right? Just work my case for free, okay? If you can just get the refund dismissed or have the damages reduced, I'll owe you forever. No. What do you mean, no? You're my sister. You can't just abandon me like this. Being your sister doesn't mean I'm obligated to clean up your messes. And besides, what you're asking is impossible. Even lawyers have limits. We can't magically erase wrongdoing just because you regret it now. You are heartless. No, I'm just done letting you drag me into your schemes. I told you, don't involve me. You didn't listen. Millie, please just wait. Don't leave me. Wait, please, don't leave me like this. First, about the $20,000 that I had tossed into the apartment mailbox, it ended up in the hands of my sister's affair partner, the very person who had been living in that apartment. He found the money and, of course, squandered it. I couldn't believe it when I heard. It was as if the money had vanished into thin air, only to be wasted on things that were irrelevant. This affair partner of hers that had been told by my sister that she was a wealthy, single woman, it's hard to even imagine the level of deception involved in that. The lie she had been living was so far removed from the truth that it was almost comical, except for the fact that it was rooted in a situation so destructive. What made this whole mess even more complicated was that this man had no real interest in my sister's character or her feelings. He was only interested in what he thought was a golden opportunity. He had been misled, and now he was involved in the chaos she had created. After everything that happened, he came forward and apologized, though it didn't change anything in the end. I suppose in a way it was too little too late. Still, after some back and forth, they reached an agreement on the standard amount for the alimony, just enough to cover the situation with no grand gestures or any attempt to make things right beyond what was expected. Meanwhile, my sister was left to face the consequences of her actions, something she was ill prepared for. The reality of it all hit her much harder than I think she had anticipated. It wasn't just about the $20,000, but the entire mess that surrounded her. As if that wasn't enough, it turned out that there had been another affair during her engagement. I couldn't believe it. She was engaged to someone else while all of this was going on. How was that even possible? Apparently, the affair partner during her engagement was a separate issue, something that had somehow remained hidden until now. And so, in addition to the situation she had already created, my sister was now being asked to pay alimony for that as well. It seemed as though her life was nothing but a series of missteps, each one compounding the last, creating an overwhelming mess that she had no idea how to untangle. It wasn't just the affairs, though. That part, while shocking, was almost expected. The way my sister had been living, the way she thought she could get away with anything, her life had been one big string of mistakes, and I couldn't help but think that some part of her believed she could avoid any real consequences. She had a way of interpreting everything around her in the most convenient way possible. It was almost as if she believed that if she twisted things enough, the truth would bend to her will. But that kind of thinking doesn't work forever. Sooner or later, the truth catches up with you, and that's exactly what happened here. The carefree attitude she had carried through life, always choosing what was easiest rather than what was right, had led her down a path she couldn't undo. I had always been frustrated by my sister's behavior. She had such a reckless personality, one that never considered the long-term consequences. There were so many things I wanted to say, so many things I wanted to point out to her, but I knew better than to waste my breath. She wasn't the type to listen. She had a way of brushing off anything that didn't align with her view of the world, interpreting everything in a way that made it all seem like someone else's fault. And now she was finally paying for that mentality, in ways that would haunt her for a long time. The idea that she could just ignore the damage she caused and carry on as if nothing had happened had been her biggest mistake. It had always seemed so easy for her to get away with things, to assume that everything would just work out, but she was wrong. Life doesn't just forgive you for being reckless. You can't keep running away from the consequences no matter how hard you try. Now, my sister was in a far more difficult place than I ever expected. She was working tirelessly at some seedy bar in a rundown part of town, spending her days and nights trying to pay off the debts she had accumulated. She had no time for herself, no space to think, no ability to see any way out. Her life had become a constant grind, a daily struggle to stay afloat in a sea of mistakes she couldn't undo. And I wondered, as I thought about it, if she even realized how far she had fallen. Did she understand what it meant to lose everything? To be left with nothing but the consequences of her own actions? It seemed like she had become numb to it, as though she had already accepted that this was her new life, that she had no way of turning things around. It was painful to think about, and yet I couldn't help but feel a certain level of frustration. Part of me wanted to sympathize with her, to feel sorry for her as she worked herself to exhaustion, day after day trying to repay the debts she had made. But another part of me couldn't find it in me to offer any sympathy. How could I? How could I feel sorry for someone who had always taken the easy way out, who had always been so careless with her life, only to now face the reality of it all? I understood the difficulty of her situation. No one wanted to be stuck in a place like that. But she had done this to herself. She had made these choices, and now she was paying for them. I didn't want to see my sister suffer, but there was no other way to look at it. Her choices had led her here, and there was no quick fix for the mess she had created. It was hard not to feel angry at her, angry for the way she had handled everything, for the way she had ignored all the signs along the way. It wasn't just the affairs or the lies, it was the way she had treated the people around her, the way she had treated the consequences of her actions as if they didn't matter. But they did. They mattered more than anything, and now she was the one left picking up the pieces. What was even more difficult was that I couldn't offer any real advice to her. She had burned so many bridges, alienated so many people, and now she was living in a world where she had no one left to turn to. The money she had spent, the lies she had told, the people she had hurt, it had all built up to this moment. And there she was, working in a dirty bar, hoping that somehow, through sheer effort, she could pay off everything and get her life back on track. But I didn't see how she could. Life doesn't hand out second chances just because you're sorry. You can't undo what's been done. You can only try to do better moving forward. And that, it seemed, was the hardest lesson of all for my sister to learn. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.